Ripple XRP holders, you are about to be a millionaire if you only hold just 101 XRP, according to Jack the Rippler, saying that XRP will be over $10,000 after the lawsuit. And he posted this video on Twitter with this glitch happening, saying $9,866, $68, and then bouncing back to 21 cents right here. Now, I'm going to dispel some rumors. I'm going to dispel some myths. I want to talk about some facts in this video, and I want to share with you guys how to really identify the realistic perception and prediction of XRP. So an XRP price prediction, and also I want to get into the charts with you guys in this video and show you gold. I want to show you Bitcoin compared to gold, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the DXY, and also showing Bitcoin in comparison to the past during the past market cycles based on the 4-year market cycle theory, and where Bitcoin could potentially go next, also the US dollar index, and how that affects XRP, because everyone knows that XRP rises or falls right now with the rest of the market, and regardless of the lawsuit, XRP is on the verge of making a massive breakout relatively soon. But how high could XRP go, and will this breakout really push XRP to $1 and beyond even before the lawsuit comes to a close? Because with Brad Garlinghouse talking about the lawsuit coming to a close in March of this year, before the end of this year, they've been saying that for the past few years. So let's talk about the truth. Let's talk about the facts, and let's get right into it. Comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish, and let's run it. All right, so let's get into a few XRP price predictions. And I'm curious on what your guys' price prediction is for XRP post-lawsuit and pre-lawsuit, because is $1 incoming with this long-term trading pattern right here? As you guys can see on the chart, the relative strength index in purple for XRP has risen close to 70 in the last few days, canceling all negativity this coin has witnessed in the last couple of months of 2022, as well as the beginning of January. Its 30-day moving average that you can see in red on the chart right here is about to climb over the 200-day in blue, forming a golden cross that normally signals a substantial breakout to the upside. Now, if we look right here, where could that breakout go? Because more sober investors, other than Jack the Rippler, I don't know, maybe he's had too much moonshine before making that post, or he was just excited spreading FOMO for people out there. I want to spread some facts, and hey, maybe you click on this video for some FOMO, but you're going to get some facts. If that ruffles your panties in a bunch, then maybe you need to go take your Tampax out if you're a guy. Hey, if you're a lady, no offense for you, but a lot of these pansies, as these guys out here, can't take this this truth because they want to be hyped up and pumped up about the false narrative that these asset classes, whether it's cryptocurrencies, whether it's the stock market that's all propped up off of debt, is going to make them a millionaire, and they're too scared to develop real skills in the business world to be able to understand how to grow and to scale with real companies. And marketing and sales is an awesome skill, but some people just want to get rich quick. So for those of you that just want to get rich quick, keep listening. You're in for a rude awakening right now, because for more sober holders out there that have a more realistic, grounded approach to trading, have proposed more realistic forecasts in the region of $1.30, while others are up to $10 as far as longer-term target is concerned. And given the XRP is 41 cents right now, a target of $1 or a little higher in the immediate aftermath of the Ripple versus SEC case is very achievable. This would depend on, of course, the entire cryptocurrency market, what the Fed is doing with the effective federal funds rate. But I want to show you how to calculate market cap and price for any asset that you want in the cryptocurrency space. So if we're looking at price multiplied by circulating supply, that's how you get market cap. Or you can take market cap, you can divide that by circulating supply, and that gives you price. So an example would be XRP's price right now is, let's say it's sitting at 41 cents. So 41.41, we'll just round it, take off that 0.0004 off the end of it. And if we look right here, 0.41, multiply that by 50.8 billion, which is the circulating supply right now. That gives you the current market cap of $20.8 billion. Now, in order for XRP to be at $9,864, according to Jack the Rippler, and I don't know how much of his post is, just sarcasm, or if he's actually being serious about that, but he didn't dispel the hype there. He just said hold. He wasn't saying like this is just a prediction based on, or this is just some weird coincidence here. He didn't say anything that. So I would assume that he doesn't fully believe himself there, because multiply that by 50.8 billion circulating supply. That's if there's no other amount put into circulation, that would be a $501 trillion market cap. Now, I don't know about you, but the amount of money, if we go and ask ChatGPT, how much money is circulating around the world right now? It's estimated to be around 90 trillion. So to gain a $500 trillion market cap, well, let's look at this. A lot of people are saying that's not true. So we need to fact check ChatGPT and look at the amount of money out there. Back in 2020, silver, the cryptocurrencies, gold, Bitcoin, the rest of the markets, Bitcoin had a $100 billion market cap just a few years ago. And so if we look at where Bitcoin is now in terms of market cap, Bitcoin has a $400 billion market cap. So there's a lot more money in the crypto market right now, but a 4x from that. So it's far off from 500 trillion. You know, the whole entire crypto market cap would have to pull a 500x from where we are right now. And that would be a 500x all into XRP. So that's banking on the fact that there would be an entire global reset from every single monetary perspective, from all the richest people in the world, all of the biggest companies, all of the cryptocurrencies, all of the precious metals in the world, all of California's GDP. America's most popular state, the powerhouse, was 2.9 trillion a few years ago. This eclipses the economies of most countries. The Fed's balance sheet, between 2008 and 2014 was 4.5 trillion. And if we look at the currencies of the rest of the world, banknotes was 7.6 trillion. Gold, 7.7 trillion. It's over 10 trillion now. Stock markets, 73 trillion, probably close to 100 trillion. Actually, probably less. It's probably because the stock markets took a huge dip. I need to fact check what that is right now. Correct me in the comments, guys. What is the stock market at right now? You can look that up in 10 seconds. But for the purpose of this video, 36.8 trillion in global money supply. In broad money would be 90.4 trillion. Now, global debt, 215 trillion, which is 325% of the global GDP, because this world is backed by debt ever since the dollar was taken off the gold standard. Global real estate, $217 trillion, and that's backed by debt as well too. Now, derivatives. Derivatives is really the only case that I could see pushing XRP to this. The low end estimate, the size and scope of derivatives markets is 544 trillion on a national contract basis. And a derivative is a contract between two or more parties that derives its value from the performance of an underlying asset, index, or entity. And examples of derivatives would be futures contracts, forwards contracts, options, warrants, and swaps. Now, banks typically use high amounts of leverage to attain these positions. Some derivatives, such as commodity futures, are traded on regulated exchanges, such as the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. However, the majority of the derivatives are traded outside of exchanges between private companies and are called over-the-counter trades. And if we go back here and scroll all the way down, the low-end estimate is 544 trillion, but the high-end estimate is 1.2 quadrillion. Now, that could be higher now because they printed more money than ever before the past few years, which has caused inflation to go absolutely crazy. And when I talk about how that's affecting the markets, that would bank on the fact that XRP would scoop up the majority of the entire derivatives market, and it would back based off that. Now, where's the documentation for that? I don't know. Link me in the resources in the comments below. XRP is my largest holding. So for people think that I'm spreading FUD, a lot of people that are afraid to look at the truth, they look at other people who are spreading the truth and they say, you're just spreading FUD. Well, when you spread facts, how is that FUD? I like to talk about facts. And if I'm talking about my opinion, that's my opinion, and I'll clearly state that. This is not financial advice. A lot of what I talk about is my opinion, but the majority of what I talk about is the facts. So can Bitcoin still crack 50K if gold correlation continues? Well, let's look at that, because gold and Bitcoin have had an inverse dollar correlation without question. And as the debate over how much Bitcoin will compete with gold remains, bullish price takes are surfacing right now for the comparison. And Bitcoin might even crack the 50K mark, a lot of people are saying. So if Bitcoin continues to follow gold and gold continues to trade bullish, then what's going to happen with the DXY? Well, I'm going to cover that in a little bit when I show you the charts, because comparing the chart of Bitcoin to USD to gold versus the DXY in the precious metals, Tech Dev hinted while continuing a previous narrative may be front-running Bitcoin in terms of its recovery, and gold is running quicker. So if we look at gold right now, since November of 2022, gold has been bullish, sitting at $1,929 per ounce. However, if we're looking at the RSI right here, we see this rising wedge formation. You have to be very, very careful here, because when you see this downtrend form a bottom, and then it starts to reverse, you see the resistance where you see higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, but it starts to coil up, and the highs aren't as high in terms of percentage as before, and same thing with the lows, and eventually it gets to a breaking point where it breaks the support and resumes the downtrend. Now, if we go back here, then we look at the RSI for gold, it's at 70 right now. And if we see this downtrend that took place back in March 9th of 2022 until July of 2022, we saw this massive downtrend. We saw this bottom form right here. We saw a high, a low, a higher low, higher high, higher low, and it's coiling up. Now, the more that this coils up, and the higher that this is on the relative strength index, gold sitting in overbought territory to the US dollar would mean that there would be a break at some point and it would trade to the downside and then start the downtrend again. Now, if we were to bring that up to Bitcoin and we compare this to the S&P 500 as well too, gold has been a front runner to Bitcoin on March 9th. So you see this vertical line in yellow right here. And if I bring gold to the US dollar here, you can see the correlation between gold and Bitcoin all the way up until November of 2022. Realistically, when gold started to run was November of 2022, whereas Bitcoin didn't. Bitcoin didn't run. So gold was front running Bitcoin. And then just a few short months later in January, right, Bitcoin started to run. Now, how much higher could Bitcoin go in comparison to gold? Well, my prediction on this is I feel that Bitcoin could run upwards of $28,000 to $30,000 at the peak before rolling over. And I don't know if it's going to make it that high. $25,000 I think is in the ballpark. However, because we're sitting drastically overbought territory on the RSI, we're sitting at 81 right now. That is not good news for the day traders because I'm on the daily candles right now. And if we look at every single time that Bitcoin has been above 70 on the RSI, it's short-lived. And so, sure, Bitcoin could stay up here for a little bit longer, but realistically, how much longer do you think it's going to last? Because I see this upward trending resistance right here that it broke. It will act as support for a little bit, and then it will crash below it, and then it'll come back down alongside gold. And the reason why I feel this is going to happen is because when I compare this to the DXY that you're going to see in a little bit, then it would support my theory. Now, also, if I look at the stock market as well too, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow, you can see the correlation as well here too with Bitcoin and the stock market and gold. They're all pretty correlated together, even though some of the rallies are a little bit higher. And, we saw the S&P 500 break out in November, whereas Bitcoin traded bearish. You can see some correlation here. When the bear market kicked in, the bear market was all across the board for gold, NASDAQ, Dow, and S&P 500, when in reality, the DXY was the only one that was trading inversely to all of these. And so if I pull up the NASDAQ, I put the NASDAQ next to the S&P 500, pretty identical, and I put it next to Bitcoin, pretty correlated, although the rally that took place in August was higher, and then the rally that took place in November was higher. Bitcoin kind of traded sideways right here before breaking out. The reason why Bitcoin is breaking out right now is because of the rumors that the Federal Reserve is going to pull back on raising the effective federal funds rate, and they're not going to be as hawkish, they're going to be more dovish. So the rumors of that is what caused the market rally. So it's a leading indicator of news and rumors and hype that these markets really move on. They don't move on after the fact, so people are buying the rumors and then selling the fact. And once the Fed actually comes out within the next few days with their FOMC meeting and they adjust the effective federal funds rate, then I would expect there to be a sell-off on the other side. Now, if I put the Dow next to Bitcoin, somewhat of a correlation right here as well too. If I put the DXY next to Bitcoin, complete inverse correlation where we saw Bitcoin trading bearish, the dollar was trading bullish, and then once the dollar flipped and turned bearish, Bitcoin flipped and turned bullish, and at some point the DXY is going to turn around and flip. Now, the real key here too is looking at the S&P 500 as well. We see this symmetrical triangle formation right here. It really could go either which way. We're at the resistance right now. If the S&P 500 breaks to the upside, I would expect it to push a little bit higher, close to 70, all the way up to, this resistance right here at 4,140, and then get slapped back from there on the on the S&P 500 and same thing on the RSI, push upwards of, 60 to 70, get slapped back, come back down to retest this as support, which is resistance right now, back from the 30th of November. Then if I'm pulling up right here on the NASDAQ 100, we are right at the upper echelon of this downward trending resistance line during this bear market right here. And also corresponding on the RSI as well too, we are sitting at 65, which has been massive resistance since September of 2022. So if we get slapped back from this right now, then I would expect Bitcoin not to trade too much higher and gold not to trade too much higher. However, if we can push to the upside, a blow off top on the RSI, followed by trading alongside this support, which is resistance right now, but it would flip, and then ultimately breaking to the downside and trading to the downside at some point. And I'll show you why in a little bit I believe this, because looking at the Dow, we see this rising wedge formation where we see higher highs right here, higher lows, but it's starting to coil up. So as it continues to coil up here and push one final time to the upside, eventually it's going to break to the downside and it's going to trade on the downside on the RSI. And so could we push upwards within this resistance right here of, 60 to 61, maybe a little bit higher up into this point before trading further to the downside? Yeah, it's possible. However, we've been bullish since September. So when we look at how long we've been bullish for 127 days on the Dow. How long have we been bullish for on the NASDAQ? Well, realistically right here, we've been bullish for over 100 days on the NASDAQ. How long have we been bullish for the S&P 500? Right here, we've been bullish for over 100 days on the S&P 500. How long have we been bullish for Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin right here, we've been bullish for about 80 days. So Bitcoin is a little lagging right now because of the fears of what's happening in the markets. But how long, the next question I want to ask you is how long have we been bearish for the DXY? For 124 days. So this bear market can't last forever for the dollar. Eventually, the dollar is going to turn back around and we're going to see a bounce for the DXY. And the reason why is because we look at this formation right here on the RSI and we're sitting in drastically oversold conditions. So sure, if the markets for Bitcoin go up a little higher, gold goes up a little higher, the stock market goes up a little higher, then that would mean that the DXY would go a little bit lower. But ultimately, we're going to see it break this downward trending resistance and we're going to see the dollar snap back to the upside and trade bullish. Just the way the markets work. Fall, winter, spring, summer. You can't stay in winter forever in one part of the world and summer forever in one part of the world, unless you live in Miami, Florida, where I live right now. Then it's really summer all year round. Even though the winter, it's like 50 degrees some days. I think it snowed once or twice in Florida. But ultimately, depending on where you live, will save your investment long term. So if you're in crypto, that's like being the extremes. Like one part of the season, it's going to be 150 degrees. The next part of the season, it's going to be negative 50 degrees. So you just have to be prepared for the extreme volatility of the climates, of the financial temperature, right? So in the US dollar index right here, well, the dollar is going to bounce at some point. Where that will bounce, I don't know, man. We'll see. We're at 50% right now at 0.5. Could we see a 0.618 on the Fibonacci retracement right here? Could we see it go further down to there? I think that would be the point where it bounce, maybe a little bit further. So somewhere within this range right here where the dollar will bounce at some point, 97 to where it is right now. Once it bounces and it trades bullish, then the RSI will start to trend back up. We will see the stock market, the Dow start to roll over. We will see the NASDAQ start to roll over. We'll see the, guys, it's crazy, the S&P 500, and then gold will start to roll over. Bitcoin will start to roll over. So sure, get excited right now for the fact that we could push a little bit higher, but ultimately be prepared as we start to roll over on the other side and then continuing of the bull run. Now, I don't feel that like we're going to completely fall apart, and go down to Goblin Town down here. However, that's not out of the books completely. If we see something like that happen for Bitcoin over the next few months, that would be an absolute disaster. That would come at maybe bad news for the Ripple lawsuit. And also looking here, one thing to look at for the facts is the minor capitulation data. So where we are right now in terms of blocks since the difficulty bottom, in terms of 200K all the way down to 0, we're sitting at 221,000 blocks since difficulty bottom. So it's not that profitable right now for miners. Once this flips and goes back down under 1,000 blocks since difficulty bottom, then we will really be talking about like that the bottom is for sure in at some point, because all the way back here, looking at 2015. So one thing I want to show you guys here, if I go back to 2015 and I grab the chart and I want to show you what this looked like back here with this vertical line, we saw this same type of rally take place for Bitcoin where we saw the bottom was in, you saw it wick all the way down to $111. Then we saw a short rally for Bitcoin happen. How long was that rally? Well, if I were to zoom in for you guys and I were to measure that out, that rally was roughly 55 days. And then it was a 100% rally. And then we saw Bitcoin trade bearish for a little bit for about 48 days, bullish for a little bit, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish. And then ultimately we just continued to trade to the upside. So if I were to trace this type of rally right here in correlation to what it looked like on the chart since blocks since difficulty bottom, right? It rallied 185,000 blocks since difficulty bottom all the way up to 192,000. And then the price flipped around. As you can see right here, if I were to show you guys where this was, it was this point right here when the price flipped around, didn't quite trade all the way down, had one little rally, then flash crash, followed by massive run up right here. And I were to trace this this was when it flipped, right? When the price flipped right here, it turned blue, and then we had one little rally and one final crash down. So if I were to go back here and I were to zoom in on this right here, that's what happened right here. This rally, this crash, it flipped, right? Came back down one final time. And then when it came back down one final time to $191, people thought that the bottom was fully in, like right around here. And it was because this crash was a flash crash that didn't take out that low. So something like this, if something like this happens for Bitcoin, okay, if I refresh the page right here, what happened when it turned blue and we went back down below 1,000 blocks since difficulty bottom? Well, we crashed, right? Little rally followed by one final dip right here to 16,000 blocks since difficulty bottom. And that was it. We are not at that point right now for Bitcoin. We're still in the red. So this little rally that's taking place is very similar to this rally right here. This rally right here. And if I were to trace that up right now, what would that look like? All right, let's go all the way over here and let's grab that chart for you guys and let's just put it next to where we are for Bitcoin. It would look something like this, okay? So it doesn't mean we're going to go to Goblin Town, doesn't mean we're going to go to the moon right now. We're going to be in this sideways trading action for an extended period of time before we really see the final blow off top during the last year of this bull run. So if I were to move, the S&P 500 chart, and I were to, let me just delete these for you guys so you can understand what we're looking at here. And I'll just delete gold, delete the NASDAQ, the DXY, and only leave the chart from 2015. So something like this, where we see this breakout is a fake out. Everyone would get hyped up. You look at the RSI, it's already sitting above 70. So if we continue to trade even higher, 100, if we go to 100 on the RSI, I don't think we've been there before. Have we? We've been upwards of 93, 90, but it's really quick. It touches it. It touches it. So where are we right now? We're at 81 right now. So trading any higher is really just going to push to the point where we're going to touch it and then we're going to trade back down to the downside. So it looks something like this. Unless I'm delusional here. I'm just looking at the facts. Like anytime this has ever happened where we've pushed upwards of 80 to 90 on the RSI, it's a quick tap and it's a quick touch. It doesn't sit there for too long and then it trades back down. So I think the chart would look more something like this. And then how far down we go once we trade to the downside and how long of a bearish trend now that we flip into. Because we've been bullish for, 80 days somewhat on Bitcoin, over 100 days on the stock market. So right now, where are we? January 26th, yeah, nearly 80 days tomorrow. So what do you guys feel? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below right here, because ultimately, once this flips and we see the price crash one more time, that would be happening relatively soon. And you better be ready for this, because when the price flips back around, we could be coming all the way back down to, $17,000, $16,000 to retest this low. And ultimately, this is the support line that I would be looking for right here to trade alongside. And then I'll be watching the RSI as well too. And so if I were to, get excited about backing up the truck, again, don't buy, don't sell anything that we talk about, but it would be roughly this support line that I'm pointing at right here, this support line. So if Bitcoin dips back down to $16,000, I will be accumulating more Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin at roughly $16,000. I think it was like $16,500 or $16,700. So right here is where I accumulated some more Bitcoin, because I was looking at the RSI. I mean, simple, guys. You don't need to be the most extreme technical analysis person in the world. If you're just looking at the RSI right here, when it dipped down to 2025, that was the best time to get excited about Bitcoin. When is the worst time to get excited about buying Bitcoin? When it's at a high. Look at the RSI right now, 84. Am I buying Bitcoin right now? Absolutely not. Why would I buy Bitcoin right now in hopes that it rallies up another 18%, maybe 25%, knowing that it's for sure, in my mind, going to turn around on the other side because the dollar is going to bounce, because the dollar is at the low on the RSI and the dollar is going to turn around. Why would I do that? So how will that affect XRP? Well, if the lawsuit is not coming to a close before this happens, then XRP is more than likely going to trade sideways or fall back down again before bouncing out of here and finally going into a bullish rally, breaking out of this multi-month downtrend since April of 2021. So we see this resistance right here. It keeps bouncing off of. At some point, XRP is going to break this and go, but we've been in a 649-day, rejection from this resistance, and we're sitting right at it right now. But we're also sitting at 63 on the RSI. So be careful here, because if XRP breaks out, this could be a liquidity sweep as well too, as we could trade back down inside, because a lot of people would be longing the market right here if they see XRP break out and confirm. However, this could be another fake out too. So you guys just have to be ready. So for me, I'm just holding XRP for the long term. If XRP dips down within this range, I'll probably accumulate more, because I don't think XRP is going to go much lower than 27 cents. I do see this massive gap right here that it could fill one final time before we go into the bull run. And that would come at the backs of, a delay, further delay of the lawsuit if it gets pushed back towards the end of the year. And then ultimately, I would expect a rally from right there. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this video. As always, with my orange glowing skin right here. No, I didn't get a spray tan. I don't know why this lighting, even if I put it on my face, makes me look even more red and burnt than I usually am, because even living out in Miami, man, I don't tan, I just burn. So we're burning through cash quicker than we have over the past 40 plus years as a country. The spending power of the dollar is going down in value. That's the truth. Cryptocurrencies, altcoins, NFTs, blockchain technology, artificial intelligence is becoming more popular over time. That's a fact. And together, we're all going camping on the beaches of the moon. I will see you on the next video. I also will see you on the beaches of the moon. As always, stay bullish.